Mate, I tell you what, it's been a hot minute since I've heard that intro, since I've seen that dun, 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 noise coming down. Boy, oh boy, Joe. Mate, how you doing? Welcome back, SuperCoach 2025. Some stuff's looking a little bit different.
It's looking a little bit different. Hopefully, though, the fun and the content substance matter is both as enjoyable and informative for all of our wonderful viewers. It's been some time. We've had a good break. To be honest, we just thought, hey, we need our footy fix. It's been too long. None of this BBL nonsense, NBL. I'm sorry if you like those sports, but they're not real compared to AFL SuperCoach, all right? They're just a rung or two below. So we gotta jump back on and have a talk about, because there's some things to talk about, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the game hasn't started yet, but there's so much SuperCoach to talk about. Training reports have started to come out. We've got things like the new fixture. Joe, they're keeping round 0. Then players who got traded and got changed to different clubs. So, yeah, it's so much to talk about outside of just, we're waiting for the game to start.
Well, we've got some, in relation to the game itself. I mean, there are certainly some, I guess, news that we can talk about, because there has been an official release about what the positions are for the players. Whilst their prices aren't out for sure, we do have information in relation to their positions, and some of them, especially in the forward line, are looking mighty juicy.
Yeah, a few years ago, I started off the season really red hot, ended up in the top 50 for the first 8 or so weeks, and that was due to just having a really strong forward line. Managed to pick up, I think it was when Sicily was a forward line player, and there was a few other guys in the same position as well. I feel like I might be doing something similar again this year. Forward line's always been the most difficult to pick, but also the most rewarding, with rookies generally in the forward line scoring shit. So if you can avoid that, you're onto a winner.
100%. But before we dive into that, mate, we're gonna turn to the people who have made us who we are, and that is the viewers, mate. Start off with Velo. First comment of the 2025 preseason. G'day, Velo. Hope you're doing well.
What's up, Velo?
Missing footy a lot, bro. It's true. We miss footy a lot, and that's the reason why we thought, stop this. There are absolutely people, a lot of people, myself included, that miss the footy. Let's just jump on, have a live, get some people to come on, get a little bit of a footy fix, and look towards 2025, 100%. Thanks for rejoining us, Velo.
Yeah, 100%. Wooden spoon data. The lads are back. There you go. Hectic Lebo. We know who you are, mate, you cheeky boy. It's nice to be back, I tell you what. Welcome back. Trying not to be shocking this year, guys. I'm going to need your help. Well, yeah. I mean, that's why we're here, right? We're going to pump out all the content over the preseason, all our normal recordings during the regular season as well. Obviously, a lot of round 0 coverage because, up until that round, your team can look one way and then it's going to look the other way after that first initial price change, or at least us knowing who that first initial price change will be or what it will be.
Well, speaking of price changes, I do have a little bit of a table here on the side to visualize that. I'll show it in a second. Ross, g'day, Ross. Dons to win a final in 2025? Look, unlikely.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, if it happens, I won't say no. I'll take that absolutely. But unlikely, no. We have to make the finals first to potentially win a final, and I don't see us making the finals this year. We are the youngest team in the comp. Take out Goldstein. We actually are the youngest team in the comp.
I thought it was North Melbourne.
Nah. It's actually us. If you take out Goldie, Essendon becomes the youngest team in the comp. So
if you take out Luke Parker and a few of the other 30-year-olds, we become the youngest as well. So
yeah, but they're not going to retire like tomorrow. Goldie might retire tomorrow, and all of a sudden we're babies again. G'day, Zach. How's it going? Good to see you. Velo, is Bo Allen a lock for our defense? I am very heavily considering the young man. I can't believe he slid as far as he did to get to West Coast. And they will certainly use him, whether it's in the midfield. I think it's more likely he's going to come off half back. And as a result, I think he is not quite, no one's a lock at this stage, right? Obviously, we're still 2nd of December, but I would very strongly consider him for sure, especially with the DPP.
Yeah, I think as well, this year we're going to go heavily into guns and rookies. We found out with those initial buys at the start, it's the players just scoring the most on field. And I really do think that if not on the field, he will be on our benches. There's no more picking Josh Gibcus. He's had his time, 3 years of Josh Gibcus. Yeah, definitely Bo Allen's one of those guys in consideration. I think West Coast are going to want to play him. West Coast, right? I think West Coast going to want to play him as soon as they can. So being able to do that, get those games into the type of player that they need. Because I think Witherden's also retired as well. So there's a lot of space for those kind of guys to perform.
For sure. Don't diss Legend. G'day, Legend. How's it going, mate? Don't diss the NBL. It's the only thing saving me. Waiting for footy to
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
One of those things. NBL, I think cricket's back for a lot of people too. And yeah, those sports that it's unfortunate in Australia because the AFL dominates so much. Even AFLW to a lesser extent. The AFL dominates so much that the only time you can actually get a sport to, get people to watch a sport is when AFL's not on.
Yeah, I understand that. For sure. Pete, g'day, Pete. Great to have you back.
How you doing,
Great
Peter?
to have your viewership. Great to have your viewership. Bryce Cotton is greater than Bont.
Mate, I saw this guy went and scored, I think it was 49 points or 59 points. Few people had him as captain. And I know that captaincy works differently in NBL SuperCoach. So they were like scoring 200, Joe. Imagine if our captain scored 200. He'd be happy too.
100% you'd be happy. Yeah, it's a different webcam that I'm using. It's supposed to
He looks very good though. Top notch.
Do I sound better? I've changed the
Yes.
microphone to the computer.
You sound better.
Microphone. Okay, good.
Yeah, you sound much better.
Ricky Edwards. G'day, Ricky. Do you think many draftees will play early?
It depends which team they go to, but I think the strength of this year's draft was that the top 30, heck, even going into the top 40, there were so many good ready-made players or good players just that were rated that given good off seasons, probably. It depends on a team-by-team basis, obviously, who's got space to play and things like that, but no one wanted to trade out of the first round. Heck, North Melbourne were trying to offload the future first, and we got pick 27. So that's 26 effectively other clubs, or 26 picks. I think it was more like 9 to 26. Teams didn't want to get rid of their stuff. So, yeah, I think it's going to work out quite well, and I think there'll be quite a few. But they'll be expensive this year. So guns and rookies is the way to go, I think.
Well, we even saw it with the best 18 format, that the guns and rookies approach was the way to go. So I think the more you can go with guns and rookies again this year, the better you'll be. I think some of these gun players, like I think Finn O'Sullivan should get a gig early for North Melbourne. I wouldn't be surprised if Sid Draper for Adelaide, he was Here you go.
I would probably say everyone outside of maybe Taru, who looks to be getting kind of eased into it a little bit, given his injuries. I wouldn't be surprised if the entire top 10 plays early.
At some point. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good young talent to choose from this year. I think there might be more than you can realistically fit in your team almost, dare I say.
Good.
Yeah, I know. The more the merrier, 100%. Skits, Fits, the fellas, the viewers. How are we doing? Jason. G'day, Jason.
How you doing, Jason?
Forwards, Baslenka, McRae, both, I guess, both called. And
No,
Brett Daniels.
Caleb, I think he's trying to say Caleb Daniel.
And Brett Daniels, Filippo, Horn Francis, lock them in. Oh, mate, there's so many forwards this year. I've made a list of players that I'm considering in the forward line. We'll sort of go through them in a bit, but a lot of those names definitely on the list.
Yeah, I definitely know I'm probably going to go no one who's cheap, barring maybe F6, but I feel like that's going to be Caleb Daniel at F6. Yeah, there's so many good players, man. Just go full primo. Don't have to worry about those dodgy forwards scoring 15 and ruining your round anymore.
Keep an eye on Barrett. St Kilda plays 3 talls. Tauru is injured for now, and we won't do all 3 of Hookie, Howard, and Cordy. Has to be him or Schoenmaker, and I'd have him ahead of Schoenmaker.
Really?
I'd have him ahead of Schoenmaker.
I just figure Schoenmaker played well last year, and we'll see what happens, really. But yeah, seemed to do quite well when he was kicking out of the back line. Yeah, seemed to do quite well.
The problem with him is that he just doesn't have that mobility. St Kilda in the back half of the year really started to play that go ball, try to put a lot of speed on in the game, and Schoenmaker just isn't that. So that's why I'm thinking maybe Barat gets a gig. And we've seen that Ross doesn't mind giving these youngsters a shot.
That's true.
So we'll see. I rate him. Good shout out, Wooden Spoon Data.
All I know is that St Kilda want to go hard into finals this year, and they need to have a really good start. They can't afford to come out and play around with the team too much and that kind of thing and be like, cool, 2 and 4 or whatever heading into round 6 will really kill them.
Yeah, for sure. Legend will Jason Horn-Francis actually get forward TPP? Yes, he does. He will have it.
It's going to be sexy as much as I hate the player due to North. Actually, no. I don't hate Horn-Francis, but he's going to be good. Forward DPP. There we go.
It's
there
confirmed.
He's a lock straight off, unless he's 700k, in which a lot of people won't be playing him. Yeah, he's very good.
Exactly.
Very good.
Unbranded.
Unbranded.
I've missed your on-brand hello. Honestly, I'd love to get another word out of you. I'd love to get another word one day. Unbranded, one day.
All we need is Jen to log in, and then it's like the whole crew's back together, Joe. Someone message her on Twitter or something, say, hey, what's happening?
The boys are back. Harvey Langford is a beast. We'll be playing early for sure.
Oh, 100%. Well, I mean, he's a top 5 pick. Like, what do you expect? Like,
you would hope so.
Of course.
Yeah, you'd hope so. The midfield is pretty stacked for Melbourne, though. Obviously you've got Petrarca. You added Rivers. You've been asking and begging for your boy there in your profile picture to be in the midfield, and he was great in the midfield. Clayton Oliver's came back early with the first years to fourth years players, so it is a stacked midfield. It's a question whether or not he'll get a lot of midfield time. He might be a bit more outside than inside, but he'll definitely be in your best 22, no doubt.
Yeah, no, I think so as well. I mean, we saw Caleb Windsor getting a run pretty early and how dominant he was for those people that had him. So, yeah, worked out quite well. I just think they need to play him.
He is DPP, Wooden Spoon Data, Travalia. Xavier Smith, when can we start making our teams?
Well, if you don't have SuperCoach Gold, or you're not going to, it's going to be around Australia Day next year. But keep an eye out for your bank accounts, because once SuperCoach comes in, Herald Sun's going to take that juicy $20 out of your bank account. A couple of days later, it's when it's going to open. I mean, what are we? December 2nd now? I would not put it past you for it to open by the 17th. I think that's usually like a week before Christmas. We've had it a little bit earlier before, but I reckon it will be around 2 weeks. 2 weeks is my prediction.
There you have it. Rumor is or Lawler. I don't know why. I've heard people say Lawler is questionable early. Well, if that's the case, then we just don't pick him. He's super expensive, and if he's not going to play early, then we're not going to pick him.
Well, and the beautiful thing is as well is that if you don't pick him early, he's a good downgrade target. I mean, he'll just be over 200K, but you know the quality of the player. You know when he does start getting up and about, he's going to be a bit of he's going to be a bit of a good scorer. So, one of those guys, maybe round 9, 10 after our first lot of upgrades, slots into your team and scores quite well.
Yeah, well, you're talking about. Oh, there we go. So we got to mention Colin. G'day, Colin.
What's
Good
up,
to
Colin?
see you, man.
How you doing?
Thank you very much. Who is trending the house down, man? At this point, if you ask every football club, they'll tell you everyone's trending the house down. Can I say we are trending the house down because we're back and we're hitting the ground running, Colin? Yep. I'll just say, I'll say from an Essendon standpoint because that's obviously who I follow. I'll tell you that Saad Al-Hawli is doing really well. He's performing super well in the preseason. Nate Caddy, but he's not really SuperCoach relevant player.
Mm-hmm.
But Kako will play early for sure. I think Kako is well and truly in our best 22. I know he's a small forward, and we don't normally like to go with the small forwards, but he's someone who will play every week. And in his juniors, he was very happy to push high up the ground and play a bit high half forward as well. So don't rule him out just yet. What he's been able to do for us, I think he's by far and away our best one-take player. No fumbles from him. So, he's been playing the house for us.
I think Caleb Daniel will also be one of the closest to 100% owned player, especially if he's under 200K. But if he's between 200 and 300K, boy, oh boy, the guy's going to play halfback. It's already basically determined. And he's going to score very, very, very well. I think alongside a Bailey Smith as well, who might be under 400K and seems to be playing midfield according to Patrick Dangerfield. So love these kind of not preseason, I would say pre-Christmas break informations because sometimes things don't work out after Christmas or they don't correlate. Cool, it's going to happen now to after Christmas training, but we're footy nuts, Joe. Any bit of SuperCoach news, whatever, it's like, get in my team. There's a sniff that some guy played halfback in the seconds at training. He's going to come into my team. So, I love it.
Oh, for sure. Also, keep an eye on Nick Martin as well, just by the way. Nick Martin doing very well.
He's put on some size too.
He has. He's put on some size, yes. But it hasn't limited his running ability. He still finished second in our 2K time trial. Trav, g'day, Travis. Good to see you, mate. Smith
up, Trav?
And Lohman are my starting forwards. Yeah, Smith for sure. Isaac Smith.
I not sure about Lohman. I know he was great for periods of time last year. It really just depends on what happens with Brisbane. But generally, your starting your starting forward line will be either midfielders who are allocated as forwards or defenders / ruckmen who are. They're not that general forward type player. So if he scores really well, if he's cheap, no worries. But, you want to put as many guys who you think are going to score hundreds every week at a cheaper price. So we'll see. Get as many keepers in as you can. And there's a lot this year. There's a lot.
He's also, the thing about Lohman as well, nothing from a football perspective. As a footballer, the kid's at Jet. Love watching him play. But he's young and he's coming off a premiership. Now, it's not always a great mix when it comes to youngsters that experience success really early in their careers. Like, are they going to be able to come back the next year and front up, show the same amount of hunger, dedication, commitment right off the bat? For someone young, you'd be completely understanding if there's a bit of premiership hangover at the start of the year. So that's another reason why with Lohman, I'm pretty happy to wait. But Isaac Smith, from reports, he is trading the house down, Colin.
You mean Bailey Smith?
Yes, sorry, Bailey Smith. Who did I say?
Isaac Smith resurgence.
Isaac Smith! Sorry. Come back from retirement, mate.
There you go.
Zorko said this morning Sam Marshall is starting this he's a
yeah,
highly rated.
and Brisbane, what did they have to give up? Like a pick in the 30s or something for him? It was some stupid number, wasn't it? Was pick. My brain's telling me like pick 25 equivalent for Marshall. So yeah, these father sons, man. I tell you what, father sons in SuperCoach, but just AFL in general, are rated a lot higher, and they also do a lot better because the whole juniors, they don't have to worry about school. If you are at an Ashcroft, if you're a Marshall, if you're half a dozen other players, you know what you're going to do at 18. You just have to bust your gut up until that point and make sure you're selected. So these guys come through the perfect academy system. It's always some Melbourne grammar school that they end up in. And, they've been training as a professional since they were like 15. So, yeah, no wonder he's good. We saw this, was it Fletcher last year as well that came through and started scoring well for a period of time halfway through the season. So wouldn't surprise me if Marshall does the same. Brisbane's going to be weird, Joe. We've spoken about Lohman, how strong he is. I don't know how they fit in that premiership team, as good as it is. Marshall, another Ashcroft, probably Sam Day to cover Joe Danaher as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of these players, man.
Exactly.
And Kadeen Coleman's coming back too.
Yes, for sure. Jason Beck, Treloar, Libba, average less than 95 this year? It's a good question.
I think they'll be around the mark. I don't know if they'll be that far less, but I think they'll be around the mark this year. They're getting a lot older. The Doggies need to do something differently with that midfield as well. So, yeah, I would not be surprised if someone like a Kennedy, if he's 200K, like he won't be 200K, but if Kennedy's 200K, mate, he might be a sneaky selection. This is pre-season early December, Big J talk here. But, yeah, he just came out and won their time trial. So, it couldn't be the worst call ever.
Well, there's definitely changes in the midfield. I mean, they brought Richards in from halfback, so he's playing more on the ball. Obviously, Bond's in there. You still got a kid by the name of Riley Sanders who, can well and truly play in the guts as well. Will they both average less than 95? Look, I think Treloar's still a gun. The season that he had was phenomenal. Do I think he'll back it up? No, I think there'll be regression. It's very unlikely for someone to perform at such a high level at that later stage of their career. Same thing with Libba, I feel. Libba might end up being managed more. Obviously, extra concussions. We all thought his career was done last year. So I'm not going to touch Libba. He is, I think, literally one head knock away. Literally one head knock away from retirement, from forced retirement. So,
or at least taking like 6-week blocks periods off of the game. So you don't want to be that guy that has Libba in his team or brings him in and then next week's out again.
For sure.
Yeah, I think Kennedy's going to take his spot, be that midfield bull, and offers maybe a little bit more. So we'll see.
Globes. The peanuts are
Global. How you doing,
lads? Good to see you, Globes. Wooden Spoon, these first week buys do my head in. Bombers and Hawks getting a good deal. Yes. So that's what we got here on the screen. The teams
that got the first week. I guess kind of first week of buys. Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to say no one's got a game. No one's missing round one, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So we've got some. These are the teams. The best buys have St Kilda and Freo. Last year, it was Port and Freo. So once again, the AFL looking after Fremantle primo players. So they only have the one buy. North Melbourne, Western Bulldogs, Port, West Coast, Adelaide, Melbourne, Richmond, and Carlton. The second best, the GWS, Sydney, Hawthorn, Gold Coast, and Bombers. Ranked D, and the worst ones are Sydney, Geelong, Collingwood, and Brisbane. The thing that you got to keep in mind is that, yes, Wooden Spoon data, it's true that Essendon and Hawthorn have a good deal, that we also get an extra price rise out of the rookies before they have their buy. So if you want to load up on rookies, good idea to load up on Essendon and Hawthorn ones. Hawthorn don't really have too many relevant rookies, unfortunately, this coming season. But the Bombers, you'll definitely have Sabel Hole as a rookie there. You might have Angus Clark. He won our 2K time trial very easily. Smashed it. And he's going to play. If he's going to play anywhere, it will be off halfback as well. Nick Martins. I'm not sure how many people are going to start Zach Merritts in terms of the premiums there, but Essendon might be an interesting one to watch with the rookies that come out of it.
Yeah, I think El Huahi, I'll call him that from now on. I think he's going to be a good selection, seeing how good he was in the mid-season draft. Another one that I hoped North Melbourne would have picked up alongside Blight didn't end up happening. I think people will pick him as a cheaper rookie, especially probably in the defense, maybe. Key defenders probably not doing that well this year. We'll see. But yeah, I think from memory, maybe we'll go into the actual games, or at least a little bit of that fixture. I think Essendon have quite a few early games, so maybe a Zach Merritt might be a sneaky starting selection just because of that. But go back to the fixture, Joe. Go back to the image again. You guys can really see, and this is what I was touching on before: guns and rookies over flushing out normal rookies and then having a few more expensive guys. I think is the way to go, because it's going to be your best 18 for the first 4 weeks. It really is. Who's your best players is going to be there. And if you look at those D and F rankings, you want one of those players to be in your starting team. And a lot of us might be funneled into picking both Ashcrofts. So if you think about it, you've got 2 Ashcrofts, and then the rest of your team this year is going to be made up of St Kilda, Fremantle, and then the rest of those C-level players. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one this year. Maybe you can get away with some guys on the bench, but, mate, the teams that had 13, 14 primos last year in the early round buys are the ones that did really, really, really well. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I'm going to sort of skip ahead. Globes mentioned that Sexy Flanders is a lock. Now, the thing with Sexy Flanders, if we're looking here, now he was super consistent and super reliable, which is great. The thing with Sexy Flanders, Gold Coast have a round two bye. So he'll play round 0 and round 1, and then he'll have the bye. So you can afford to not start him. You can afford to trade him in after, because he doesn't have a price change, a price rise before his bye. So you can always get him in afterwards at this point. You can possibly cash in on some of these Geelong or Collingwood or Sydney, Brisbane. Any of these guys could end up being good trades to get to a Flanders. I don't even remember who do they play to start off with.
I do think also, just looking at Gold Coast as a team, I know Rioli's just done his MCL, but Noble and Rioli have come in. I think they're really trying to figure out where Flanders plays, and I don't know if he's going to get that dominant halfback role again. He did well there, but they also didn't make finals and they didn't win many games. So there might be a bit of a shake-up with Dimmer in the team now and figuring out where players play. So 50-50. I think Flanders is also going to be fairly expensive. I've seen some talk that he might also be over 600K, Joe. So if he's over 600K, mate, see you later. He's going to be very expensive. But for a guy that's going to score you 110 maybe, there's going to be other defenders who are going to score better for cheaper this year.
We've got Kai Broom in the chat. G'day, Kai.
What's up, Kai?
Plan's actually really poor. The midfield competitor down back, and then now have also got Rioli and Noble. We can't forget about Johnny Noble coming from the Pies as well. So that back line is getting a bit of a squeeze. Yes, they took out Lukosius, but Lukosius was being played as a forward more than as a defender anyway. So the back line now at the Gold Coast Suns is a bit of a squeeze. Hard to see Flanders play that juicy role off halfback as a result. So questions over Flanders for me. Happy to sit back and watch because, like I said, and as you can see in the fixture, he'll play 2 games, get a feel for his role, get a feel for his scoring, whether or not he's cemented back there or not. Listen to what Dimmer Hardwick has to say. And then if we feel like the stars are aligning and yes, this guy is going to continue what he did last year, then you can trade him in, for example, in round 3. So
there's no issues with correction trades too, because we're going to spend a few trades at the start. I'm just fixing up your team and whatnot. So that extra run's pretty good for it.
I'm going to keep an eye on Allen, Travalia, Alhole, Tauru, Smith, Lord, Ollie Lord, Smiley, O'Sullivan, Kako, and Braden George in the preseason.
I don't think Braden George is going to feature early, unfortunately. At least at the moment, he's still rehab group. So, yeah, there's no way if he's fit, he plays best 22. Like, they're 100% are going to take it slow through the preseason and take it slow for him in the VFL. Like, maybe I think if he plays 8 games, senior games this year, that's all right. But I think if he plays 8 VFL games, Joe, like if this kid can come in and kick, 15 VFL games, perfect season for him. There's no pressure to absolutely play best 22.
Yeah.
It just won't happen.
Magnus. Saligo is in fact a big watch. I agree. He really looked like he was going to emerge and really break out this year. And he got a bit of a bump in his CBAs. So bit of changes over there at the Adelaide Crows. Could see him get even more. Dan Curtin was used around the ball a bit. He's now been playing forward. So yes, Saligo, absolutely a big watch. Good shout.
I think as well they'll use him to transition the ball up the ground. Guys like Cumming and that really need that release player, and Saligo did show throughout the season just how quick and how strong he was through that midfield. Something that they don't really have much of at Adelaide. So Neil Bullen, Saligo, probably some really good influential players this year.
Yep. Velo, also in the grapevine, Joe has Roma and Timmy locked into his ruck starters. They can get in the bin. Never again. They can piss off.
You're not going to play Rowan Marshall?
Rowan Marshmallow.
Yeah, Rowan Marshall's got a good buy, and he doesn't play an early. Doesn't play. I could see a time when Rowan Marshall actually is in my starting team. If he's 500k and has no early buy, I could fit him in. Yeah, he had some good times this season.
Yeah, he has a good buy. Goodbye. Not in my team. So,
that kind of fits in with the other conversation, right? Someone asked here, Joe, can you predict your top 2 ruckmen? So if it's no Marshall and no English, who are you playing to start with? And then who are your top 2 ruckmen by the end? They don't have to be the same player.
Well, I'm going to probably start with Cherry and DeConning.
Okay. Yep. Even though they share a buy? I'm pretty sure they share a buy, right?
Carlton is here. And they share a buy.
Both French off.
But I'm not sure that DeConning is going to maybe be in the long term. Have someone emergency that's playing, perhaps.
Yep. You can always trade him out and trade him back in. That's not a big deal.
Could, but I don't really want to do that. I'll have enough players. I'll build my team and trade into players that has the appropriate coverage for that round. But I think I'm going to start with both of those guys. I think they're going to present the best value for money. Are they going to be the top dogs come end of the season? Look, they might. I mean, injuries, of course, but I think Cherry's going to be the most consistent. Gorn, you can never fully discount, but he's now getting a year older. Marshall could be up there just by virtue of the fact that the other rucks aren't amazing. But I'm not going to start him. I'm not going to start Marshall. He's a flog. He's dead to me.
Yeah, depending on price and whatnot, I think I might start Marshall and Cherry. We'll see what happens. Both don't share a buy, which is fantastic. TDK is great, but if you look at the last 8 or so games of Marshall last year, 107, 123, 135, 126, 126, 146, 120. He had his second best season ever last year at a 112 average. So if he's cheap, you only have to carry him till round 16 or whatever. If he gets injured, then no worries. And I think he's one of those few guys that may not have a big share in ruck time either. So we'll see what happens with him, really. It's more just about price. I want to put as many good primos as I can. And if I can't go TDK at 600K plus, but I can get Marshall at 500K, like, why not? So we'll see. I think Lloyd Meek is going to be a fantastic fit finishing top 2 ruckman. Max Gorn's always around the mark. I think Grundy's going to fall off a tiny bit. Max Gorn definitely is going to fall off a bit. But I think Cherry, probably Meek, and then we'll see what happens with the rest of it.
Yeah.
Brisbane's a weird team. Like, for a guy that just won the premiership, they've got a ruckman that scores like 80. So it's a weird one, Joe.
Yeah, for sure. Back up here. Legend Xavier Lindsay could play early. Yes, nice. For sure. I agree. Sneeko, g'day Sneeko. Elijah Hewitt is training the house down.
Well, there you go.
Not going to pick him though. Legend Clarion Track both combined for under 950K. Man, c'est la vie. That was the season that they had last year.
Yeah. Oh, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But they really need to have a big season for me to even consider them. The only thing that's probably a saving grace is that Melbourne doesn't have an early buy, so you can get away with an Oliver or a Track for the first few weeks if they're cheap, and then go from there. But if they had an early buy, you'd say no thanks, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Any scoring changes that we know of?
Nothing yet. I don't think, unless you've heard something different, Joe. Still same boost, still same best 18 for round 2, 3, 4. I got a question for you, Joe. Do you think that the game will be super impacted by the fact that we have 3 rounds of buys instead of having like 4, like we've had previously? Because like it was separated, right? Round 2, round 4, round 6 and 7 or something last year. Do you think that's going to change a lot of stuff, or hey, we're going to be okay, or it's going to be worse this year?
We'll be okay. We'll get through it. We'll be fine.
Oh, of course we will. But I mean, just like scoring wise, like it will change a lot because there's 6 teams in that round 2. It's quite a lot.
Yes, that's true. But I think we'll be okay. Who are these teams in round 2? Round 2, there's only 2 teams.
Oh, sorry. I'm reading that thing wrong. That's
in round 3.
Round 3 has quite a few. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 teams in round 3, 2 teams in round 4. It'll be manageable. It'll be manageable. I'm not concerned personally at this point in time. I think it's too early to be concerned. G'day, Jurg.
What's up, Jurg? Congrats on the new job, Jurg. Congrats on the new job.
Bont, we need to talk. Smashed it at time trials, but at 700K, we asked the question. It's true. You do.
Yeah. It really depends on if you can afford not to have him. And if Bont equals, it's going to be an interesting situation if Bont plus like Sam Lawler equals Clary plus Petrarca. So yeah, some people are really going to have those conversations with themselves and be like, cool, can I afford to get him, or can I afford to wait? Hopefully he drops down to 600 and then I spend, a couple of good rookies to bring him in. So yeah. He's almost getting to double primo territory. And I think from scoring last year, there's going to be a few players around that mark too. Would not be surprised if a Sheasel, Dacos, and a few of these other guys that are averaged, close to 115, 120 to be near that 700 mark.
Yep. Not many defenders I like because they all have the early buy or a position change. Example, Martin back to wing. Martin, it's not 100% confirmed that he's going to go back to a wing with Nick Martin. The latest information from the track watchers in the latest match sim sort of training is that Nick Martin is just doing his own thing. He's not really having a position. He's just running all over the ground and going wherever he chooses. Yeah, and the team is then supposed to sort of cover him whenever he's not, for example, in the back line. So Nick Martin just seems to have a carte blanche, green card to do whatever he wants at this point. And I'm all for it. So I'm not going to 100% lock in Martin back to a wing. I think Saad Al-Hawle is likely to play between halfback and wing himself. Dersma on the other wing. I think Nick Martin could still be a viable selection in the back line, I think.
Yep. I really like him, and I think he's one of those players that if he doesn't work out, it's an easy trade. But if he does work out, you've got other people scrambling to bring him in at a bigger price, or at least the same price. So yeah, could be a very, very good player for us. Backline's going to score a lot this year. Like backline this year is going to score a lot of points.
Yeah, we're stacking the forward line high. That's for sure. Round 6 and onwards, Flanders is playing a mid-forward role and scoring really well.
Yeah. But the team wasn't doing that well. That was the only thing. And it's all about the team. So maybe we're wrong, but it's something to watch, and at least we have, few things in round 0 to kind of see what's up. So yeah.
The early buys are overstated outside the pre-match, which are a flat no-go. Well, that's the annoying thing with round 3. Geelong, so you got Smith, you might have Holmes, people might be looking at, you might be looking at maybe Tom Stewart. So those are 3 from Geelong. Collingwood, obviously Nick Dacos, got Dan Houston now as well. Those are probably the 2 standout options. From the Swans, you might be looking at a Callum Mills perhaps, or a Grundy. Brisbane, you're looking at maybe Lockie Neal, Dunkley, Kitty Coleman. So, I'm not sure how many people are going to be loading up on Neal, Dunkley. Coleman might be annoying because I think Kitty Coleman, for his price, I think will be in the 200 mark.
I think so too.
I think he's an absolute bargain at that price. So
a lot of people are going to have him at D5, D4, even D6 for a few cheeky people.
Exactly. So, maybe the ones that it will probably be a big question mark over, are you going to start Nick Dacos with the round 3 bye? That's probably going to be the question, so yeah. I might not start Nick Dacos this year.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for myself, as I said before, right? I think a lot of us are going to start in Ashcroft, so that's our 1% of the F category. Do you start Ashcroft and a Dacos and be like, cool, Dacos all year? I think one of the good things was SuperCoach last year showed that people didn't pick Dacos, and then everyone scrambled to get Dacos in before he went up in price. So potentially that's the thing. I think as Collingwood itself starts to get older, Dacos is going to get relied on even more, and heck, he might even start going up in price, Joe. Imagine Dacos averaging 130. Mate, it'd be a bit sad, wouldn't it?
It's possible, mate. It's possible. It's possible. Because that room might be the highest score. Of course it will be. Of course. Of course. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Always.
Does Cheezels have DPP? No. He missed out by 0.02%.
But that's okay, because then you can get him later on in the season, and then it's fine. Like, he's a defender. I'm happy with him in defense. He doesn't, you don't want him to be a midfielder. Imagine if he was mid only. Like, hey, we're in a bit of trouble. So, yeah.
For sure.
Happy with him as a defender.
TDK. Yeah, that's why I'm looking at TDK, Kai. That's why I'm looking at him.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Hold your ghost. Ghosty
What's
boy.
up, Ghost?
Hey, boys. Hope you've been well. I have. Who's your biggest locks for 2025 at this stage?
Cherry, barring injury. I think Sheasel, definitely. I think Caleb Daniel is probably a good one. I think Joe's got a bit of a list, boys and girls, but they're kind of my players at the moment. I think Sarong is going to be very, very strong as well. I know a lot of people didn't pick him last year, and he came out and scored a pretty heavy 115 plus for the first half of the season. So, yeah, there's going to be a few sneaky pods that if you don't jump on, it's going to hurt. But it's all structure. Yeah. This year's all about structure. Like, there's a lot of very good picks. And defenders at, 550K scoring 110. get a few more of those in and forego a midfielder, because there's not my understanding, at least until SuperCoach opens, a lot of the guys that we had hoped, a lot of the rookies that we had hoped to be DPP haven't got DPP. So they're all midfield.
Yeah,
Draper,
exactly.
Foss, all these players, they're all midfield. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I sort of got a list of people that I'm going to be watching over the
Zoom in,
preseason. Of people I'm going to be watching now. Quite a few of these rookies have got defensive DPP as well. So I just didn't want to load all of them only in the defensive lines. I've sort of just split them across both lines. But Shazel, I think, in the back line is one that I'm just, really confident in, and I can trust that he's going to continue to be a freak. He will get DPP. Yeah, he only missed DPP by 0.02%. He will get it. There's no doubt about it. He's going to play midfield. So I think getting him in the back line is great this year. Dan Houston, one I'm seriously considering moving to Collingwood. Big time player. I think they'll look to use him. It just means that I think Dacos will play more midfield and probably have less cheap disposals in the back line, because they've now got Houston probably rolling off the back of the stoppage using his beautiful kicks. Sicily is one that I'm super bullish on. I think I'm almost certain to start Sicily this year, because they've really improved the quality of their backline at the Hawks. Adding 2 gun defenders surely means that they free up Sicily to play that beautiful third intercepting player without that accountability. He doesn't have to play hero ball anymore. They've got both Battle and Barras to go and do all of that hard defending. So I think Sicily is going to present tremendous value in 2025. Nick Martin.
For me, it just depends on price for Sicily.
Well, I don't think he'll be too expensive, considering compared to what we know he can dish out as a third, as opposed to playing key defense. So I think Sicily is going to be super for his price. Nick Martin is a freak, accumulator, runs all day. I mentioned carte blanche; he can do whatever he wants. Rioli's more of a question. I don't see myself going with him. Obviously sharing the role with a few other players, bit of question marks over who Dimmer Hardwick is going to use off halfback. Max Holmes, he's been transitioning into the midfield, and he had some really good games playing there. Very dynamic ball user. Another preseason playing in the midfield could do wonders for him, and he could get then defensive mid DPP, which would be handy. Farrell, this could be Burton. Farrell or Burton, one of those poor halfbacks. Certainly,
Logan Evans, depending on price, might be a good shout, because I think he's going to get. He's really going to get a lot of game time. Oh, Joe, we lost you.
Not sure why that happened. What happened?
You've changed to your laptop camera. It looks like. Oh, there you go.
Jesus. But yeah, so one of these guys surely has to, or maybe a couple of them will certainly get massive bumps in their scoring without Houston in the team anymore. So that just means more supply for them, and should be doing really well. Kitty Coleman, for his price, playing for Brisbane, might be about 200K, which is wonderful. Callum Mills, he will be really cheap as well. Does he get a gig? Does he get in? Is it worth paying up for him, or do I just go for some more of the cheaper rookies like Gibcus? We know for sure he will play, and he'll be bottom top.
I'm not touching Gibcus this year. I think Gibcus is one of those players that obviously we know he gets injured, but I think someone like a Luke Trainer in that backline for Richmond might end up just being better. And then they say, cool, Gibcus, there's no pressure. VFL, once you're ready, give you 10 or so games, and then we'll go from there. Every year it's pick Gibcus, and then I think the last 2 years in a row it's been, cool, round 3, time to trade Gibcus out. So, yeah, for me, that's a no. I'd prefer not to have to do that and save the early trade, I think. Maybe we go through a few more of these people. Kai is saying here, Grundy will get rested this year. given Cox's comments. Very, very interesting there. Thoughts on Luke Jackson, Joe, playing forward ruck for our SuperCoach teams this year?
I don't know. He's a fraud. He's a fake premium. Nothing against him as a person or as a real life player, but in relation to SuperCoach, he's a fake primo. For me, I refuse. I just don't. Not with Sean Darcy in the side. I just can't. I just can't.
Yeah, that's the same thing for me. I mean, we saw last year, well, not last year, but you saw in 2024 when he started scoring really well. It was when Darcy was out, and then he started pumping out those 120s. I think it was a 160 or something against North Melbourne. Kind of sucks that week. But yeah, when he has to share, unless something's changed, when he has to share, he's only scoring 80s. So that's a no from me. I think it's another trap.
Yeah, for sure.
Max Gorn, legend. Max Gorn fall from a 125 to a 120. There you go. If a player has grey pubes, Joe sends them to the nursing home. There you go.
Hey, you're not allowed to be old. You have to be young and in your prime, okay?
Well,
young
that was the big talk from last season, right? It was, hey, if you're over 29 or something, get out of my team. So we'll see how many of us stick with that this year.
No one old. Nobody
How old is Mills? Mills is old, isn't he?
Yeah, Mills is going to make – Mills is gone then. If Mills is old,
Bont and Petrarca, they're old.
They're in their prime. They're 28.
Petrarca, I thought Petrarca was getting a bit older. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'm mistaken. Moving through a few of these. Round 3 for us, 4 teams, and also the pop. Yeah, there you go. Sports Nut, how you doing, mate? Nice to see you. Thoughts on Heaney as a pure mid this year, Joe? Last year, those that didn't have Heaney wish they had him by round 4. Yeah, thoughts on Heaney? Are you going near him, or you just say no thanks? Last year was great.
We'll track him in the preseason. We'll track him in it, but teams that get destroyed in grand finals often struggle the following year.
Yeah. And new coach as well. So things are probably going to have to do a bit of a change. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there for him.
Yes.
Kitty could be under 200K. There you go. But similar to a Gibcus, I need to see a lot more. It's good that they both play. I assume Richmond plays, or maybe Richmond doesn't play. Sorry. I'm glad that he plays round 0, and we'll get kind of that game to see what he structures up at, because he might not even start. I mean, Brisbane just won a premiership without Kadeem Coleman in the team, so there's no pressure for him to come back. That they could just say, "Cool, VFL for a while, mate. Have some fun." Hoping I can actually do decent in SuperCoach, mate. You just watch more super, centre bounce. I don't know where Joe ended up, but I ended up just outside top 500. So yeah. Not a bad season for me. So
tell me, Sportsnut. Tell me, there are people here in the chat who rightfully are pointing out that Sicily could end up just playing key forward, with the stronger back line. How likely is it that we're going to be stuck with Sicily playing key forward? If that's the case, then he can piss off. He's not in my team.
Yep. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, he's
All right, so what else? So we're going through. We've got the rookies, so Gibkiss, Travalia, Zach Reid. Bo Allen can play back there, and Howley can play back there. Tauru can play back there. So many of these rookies can play in the back line, and the good thing is
I might run 4 primos plus Ashcroft, and then three top 10 rookies on field. Just the way that the teams are looking at the moment, Joe.
Possible.
Stack the back line, stack the forward line. You got to go cheap somewhere. And, we've seen last year, especially with a few of these rookies scoring hundreds and Primo scoring less. So, yeah, we might get another situation like that. Hey,
we could move into the
Is Parker DPP?
Yes.
I assume you mean Luke Parker. Okay, cool.
Yes, correct. Luke Parker is DPP. So he could be in the forward line, but I've got a few people that I'm considering in the forward line. But you got to consider Butters considering Sarong. You mentioned him before, very good. Plus, he has a very good buy. You could also consider potentially Jack Steele with that good buy.
Sorry, Jack Steele owners. I got rid of him last year, and I never really have never again players. I feel like never again players are being a bit salty, but for him to come out and say we need help in the midfield, and then for St Kilda not to get any midfielders, doesn't give me a lot of confidence to start Jack Steele, unfortunately.
Are you kidding me? That's so good. It means that he's going to have to be the Superman again.
He's going to score like 90s, Joe. I'd rather get the primos I can keep all year than Jack Steele. So we'll see. But if Jack Steele's 400k, okay. Jack Steele's 550 plus, that's a no thanks.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Kai's saying he really hopes Sheldrick gets played rather than Mills. Well, I think Mills might end up playing backline again, so we'll see. Guys like Jake Lloyd, I think, are getting a bit older. So
yes, correct.
Can add Allen to the back. Who's Allen?
Yes,
Bo Allen.
Bo Allen. He's DPP. So all these guys are all DPP basically.
Big Rodney. Now I work with Big Rodney, so yeah, we'll see what happens if there's some shenanigans throughout the season. But are we going to get Cam Guthrie at a cheap price this year, Joe?
Yes.
Yes, I don't think he's going to be a good selection in SuperCoach.
You can get him for a cheap price this year, and for a reason.
Yeah, he's not too good. Sorry, Big Rodney. We were speaking a lot though at work about how good all these cheapo Geelong players are, and maybe not round one, but keep an eye out. Humphreys saved my ass last year. There's going to be like 3 Humphreys out of the draft, and they're all going to be 117k. So bloody Geelong. Round 17, when you've got 3 trades left, look for whatever Geelong rookie's going to debut because you know he's going to be a superstar.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yep. Look who it is. There you go. Have slept through summer, mate. It's crazy. 2nd of December already. Season's almost starting. A SuperCoach. 2 weeks to go, most likely. And yeah. It's going to be a good one.
Dad is a hunky spunk. My new toy boy.
There you go.
I
was so sad that North Melbourne didn't get him. Like, Caleb Daniel, cool. They're probably going to play the same role in different teams, but we tried so hard to get this player. It was like North Melbourne. It was all these good players, all these good teams. Cool. North Melbourne just on the end. We were like the dumpster team. You can come to us or you can go to the team you want to, but yeah, unlucky there. Sorry, Dan Houston.
What do you mean, sorry? No one wants to go to North Melbourne, bro. Just calm down.
Hey, we got 4 players this trade. We got more players than you this trade period, Joe.
Slow clap for you. Petrarca, Oliver, they're going to be underpriced compared to what we know they can deliver. Petrarca, keep a close eye on how he recovers from that severe injuries from last year. If he comes back the same. Clary, does he regain some of that form that we know that he can have? So these guys are both underpriced compared to before. Rivers, more of a, again, good option. He's definitely performed really well, but unlikely to go with there. Parker, yes, he'll be in the forward line, not in the midfield. Don't worry about it. Sheldrick, when he played, his points per minute were off the charts. This guy is a contested ball winning machine, clearance after clearance, and he just gets max value for every touch he gets. If he gets given a real crack in that Sydney midfield, watch out. This guy could make a lot of money very quickly. And then these are the rookies to be considered, of course. In the ruck, I think these 3 could be the standout option: Cherry, DeConning, and Meek. Of course, you can also consider Marshmallow. I'll just call him Marshmallow if you want. You can also have no speaker the English. I'm not going to touch either. I'm not going to touch speaker. No, English can piss off. Marshall's probably more likely than English, but I still think these 3 are the best ones. And then in the forward line, I still think Rankin got that boost to his centre bounces and is playing that dynamic midfielder. If he's in that role again, could continue to score really well in the forward line. Horn Francis, we said before, has got the DPP confirmed, and he's obviously increasing his centre bounce attendances. McRae moving to the Saints. Great that he has forward status. The only question is, how does he really fit into that midfield at the Saints? Because the Saints want to play fast, and I don't think McRae is a very fast player. So one to definitely monitor over the preseason. Kennedy going to the Bulldogs, mid-forward status, won their time trial, looks to be doing quite well. He could be a fair shout. This Draper is actually Sam Draper from the Essendon. I don't know how he still has forward status, but if he's going to play as a forward and pinch it in the ruck with young Nick Bryan, could do very well in taking some good marks, kicking goals, and then helping out in the ruck. So I guess better than a traditional key forward, which is not gonna have more flexibility. Mateus Filippo flagged for more midfield time, which is obviously really good, and he started to score really well when he was on the ball.
Think he basically becomes a lock alongside Daniel and probably Smith.
And this is Lynch from the Tigers.
Yeah,
he is basically almost basement price dead like rookie. So if he plays and he gets up,
one goal a game, he's going to go up in price.
He's going to go up in price because when he's healthy, he's actually one of the best key forwards in the league. And the question is, do you want to select the key forward who is going to play for a bottom wooden spoon team? Look, you'd think probably not. But that's why there's a question mark. If he's healthy, it's almost like a free hit. I mean, who do the Richmond Tigers play to start the year? Let's see. Does he have an easy fixture? Team.
I know that they play that early bye. That's the only problem.
Carlton, yeah. Richmond will kick their ass. Port Adelaide without Houston.
What?
Yeah.
How are Richmond gonna? What are you? Is this Godfather? Oh, Richmond are gonna win every game. Oh, no worries, mate.
Mate, I'm clearly joking. I'm clearly taking the P155. Come on, man.
Good season for Richmond defenders. I tell you what, it's like North Melbourne. Whoever's got the ball off that half back, you better pick them because Richmond's going to have the ball a lot down there.
Oh yes. So you know what? We might end up going with Curnow to start the year. He's got Richmond round one.
There's a good shout from someone. Jason Beck here. Matt Roberts, a D6. So yeah, Matt Roberts is definitely going to be one as well. Let me see. Trying to figure out where we're up to. Yeah, Kai's saying here, watch Sicily playing as a marking forward. Weddle will be amazing as that fourth tall, mate. They traded up for Weddle, and I've not seen a bad sight from him since they brought him into the best 22.
He's very good.
Sicily will play forward with Barras, Battle, Frost, and Blank. And we'll see what happens there. Lawson Humphreys on the bench to cover by. Yeah, that's what happened with me last year, mate. And he did very, very, very well. Popped out a few 110s as well. So it's just that distributor role, Joe. He's just so good. People might even start him. I know we're talking about Evans, but people might even start Humphreys in that back line. So if he's 250K, watch out. Olger Ghost, there you go. Never Again, Stewart, Two Can Steal. I'm definitely getting there as well. And your boy, SDS, SuperCoach, there you go. Lovely treat for this, my Monday night. Mate, it's nice. It's nice to be back. Joe knows I've been badgering him. Hey, when are we going to record? When are we going to do something? We had some issues trying to figure out what streaming platform we're going to use, and that, seems to be working out itself. So no worries there, but just nice to be back, fellas. Talking shit, talking SuperCoach, talking AFL in general, and, sticking around with the 40-odd people watching us at the moment. So not too bad.
For sure. Yeah, I think Sicily will be Mr. Fix-It where the team needs him. Yeah, all right. He's a no-go for me then. Sure you're not. Yeah, nah, he's definitely a forward.
Nobody in 5 minutes.
Houston to make Joe cry again, kick the winner again via the Dons. I wouldn't be surprised. I've got no more tears left to cry, Velo. The ducks are gone. I've cried enough.
You guys did all right in the draft. Like, you've not done too bad this year. For a team that went out and said, basically, we need anybody with a pulse last year to, not splurging the cash as much and kind of picking up no Dodo, Joe. Makes a big difference with Essendon.
Oh, yeah. Todoro was the plague at the club. Finally, he's gone. Rose are making good decisions, and we're building up the war chest to get Harley Reid across. And then we win the flag.
Harley Reid, man. You're desperate for Harley. When he re-signs, you'll just be like, that's it.
He's not going to re-sign. He's going to come to the Bombers. Did you not see? He said that he's had a concussion, and now he's the preseason.
He had some sense knocked into him, did he?
Yeah, exactly. To come to the Bombers. Okay. So you watch. We're building up the chest. And then we win the flag. Maltesing, congratulations on the Roos winning women's grand final.
I'm very, very, very happy. Very happy. I do think so as well. And I think my prediction is Harry Sheasel leadership group at least. I don't think they're going to make him captain, but definitely getting there because, he's just doing really well. It was interesting seeing him talk to the ladies the day before about how much the men liked the team and how much they're pushing them versus like the actual captains of the club. So, we'll see what happens with that. But fantastic win, kind of going through, the entire season with no losses. The only team to ever do it, have a lossless season and then win the grand final. So, something to talk about there for a while. And the team's only going to get better. If we can hold on to everybody, then no worries.
Draper Wilson because the AFL left his life on the board. Maybe. To
be honest, it's the only way he's going to get selected in SuperCoach. Like, if he's rookie priced as a ruckman potentially, but
could have that ruck status with the forwards. They could be good cover if you're rocking a cherry DeConning combination. Having that forward status and the ruck could help. Getting Draper up there, you never know.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens.
To the forward line. There you go. Thanks for the shout out, Kai. There we go.
There you go.
Ben, g'day, Ben. Good to see you, mate.
What's up, Ben?
It was Dogs Luke Kennedy who won time trial. I think he was picked 62.
So not the Kennedy that I'm thinking of. All right, well that's easy then. I'm not picking Kennedy. Done. Thanks, Ben.
What? If he doesn't win a time trial, you don't pick him. Jeez, that's a pretty high standard there.
Oh man, I got to take a stand sometime, Joe. Got to be like, mate, if you can't win your time trial, I'm not putting you in my team.
Holy shit, man, that's a pretty high. You think Globes was making fun of me? If their pubes are grey, then he's gone, bro. This guy, if you don't win your time trial, you don't get up. That's
You're in the bin. Tough. That's it.
In the bin. Thoughts on Burgoyne and Wanganeen Millera? Naz is very good.
Yeah, I think Nazai is going to feature in a few people's teams, especially with that goodbye. Sinclair definitely is going to play in a few people's teams as well. So, they might find Sinclair moving to the mids gives Naz that good role. And depending on how many, I think it's going to be a price thing for Naz. And I think it's going to be how many early Marvel Stadium games they get as well. It is how good he is.
How many Essendon games he has? Hoops. You're 3 months too early, but I love you guys. Welcome back. Oh, Hoops.
Mate, we start 3 months early and then end up putting out more content than the guys that actually make the game. So no worries. We'll see how we go for this year.
Mate, we do the hard work so you don't have to, remember?
That's it, Joe.
When does SuperCoach open? Maybe in a couple of weeks.
I think that's how it's going to be.
Hey, we sort of are. Rosa said the list is no good. It's got some good pieces there, but we need more youth. And so we're pushing out players. We obviously saw the package. Drake Stringer was pushed out the door. I think we tried to push Laverty out the door as well, but no one would take him. So we're trying to play the youth We're the youngest team outside of, if you took out, if Goldstein retired today, we're the youngest team in the comp. So it is a bit of a mini rebuild going on. If we add Harley Reid to the list next year, we win the flag in 2 years.
Yep. I think as well, it's sometimes it really does take someone looking from the outside in to see how strong of a list you have and see where the issue is. And Roses coming in definitely has helped that for you guys. Just the shift of like your draft, and that you wouldn't have picked up the players that you had before.
Yeah, for sure. Matt, that is the hot take. That is a hot take, Hoops, especially playing for a team like Carlton. But he is that type of he's that player that they need. He is different to Cripps and Walsh. Will he average 100? I don't think he'll average 100, but I think that he might be well and truly worth the starting price to get him in if he's playing a favorable role. That is a really hot take.
Yep.
Matt Kennedy's slow, Big J.
Sorry. And that's what I thought. And that's why I thought, hey, when he actually comes to the Dogs and then wins the time trial, like he's actually done something. So that's why I got a bit confused.
Luke Kennedy was one of Kinnear Beatson's favourites, so I think he will go well, but probably not in 2025. There we go. Any idea when it opens? 2 weeks? Yes, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think so. I think 2 weeks.
John, thoughts on Josh Dacos? Finished his season playing off halfback and now training with the defenders in pre-season.
I think I know John Noble, I don't think played 22 games, but I do think that there's space for the likes of Dacos to actually do something like that. It just means that someone's got to cover him on the wing because he was quite influential in that position. So maybe Dan Houston is going to do a bit of a swapsies with him, and Houston plays a bit of wing mid and then plays some half back, and then Dacos plays a similar role. Because we saw times last year, I think, where Houston played a bit of mid for Freo. So not for Freo, for Port Adelaide. So yeah, we'll see what happens kind of once round 0 comes around and a bit more preseason games.
Yeah, because if he's playing off half back, he's still sharing the pill.
I would
with Quaynor, who's also a pretty good distributor off half back as well. So the question becomes becomes too many chefs in the kitchen over there. So look, I probably won't, especially with the early buy, but with that round 3 buy, I probably wouldn't go with Josh Dacos. Gone mad. Great to see you back, mate. Rodney, what about the elephant in the room, LDU's contract?
That's all I'm going to say. He's going to re-sign Rodney. He just wants extra monies. That's it. It's going to be the whole year of, what about LDU? Be like, mate, that's it. Nah, not having it, Rodney. Sorry, mate. Rodney knows. Rodney knows.
All right. Heads, he stays. Tails,
no.
he goes.
No. You can't do that.
He's gone. He's gone.
He's staying. He's staying. 100% he's
staying. The coin, the goblet of fire coin has deemed it. He is gone. He is gone. Of course, the Western list is crap. Dodoro had his mitts on it. No shit. Yes, I get it. Swans now they're going to downsize their forward line. So watch for Chad Warner DPP. Interesting. Magnus, thoughts on Cripper? He is not going to back up a record-breaking Brownlow medal count with better SuperCoach scoring next year. That I refuse to believe. It just seems really unlikely that a guy who you didn't have in your SuperCoach team this year won the Brownlow by a record amount. I just don't see where the improvement comes from in his scoring next year. Hoops. Dylan Shield off half back as mid-pricer, where he could get DPP. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be his primary position. I think Brad likes to...
Yeah, it's a no from me.
he's trying to give him a secondary position, and because he's not going to play in the midfield full time. We've got other youngsters that we need to run through there, and he's just training there. I think Dylan Shield's being phased out. I think we're trying to trade him to St Kilda last year.
That's it. Yeah,
but just didn't get the trade done either. So I think Rosa and Brad really trying to take the club in a different direction. And some of these older players, we tried to offload, but couldn't facilitate trades for them. So I wouldn't go with Shield. His kick, yeah, exactly. His kicking is shocking. Like, we're not gonna do that. Carl, g'day, Carl. How do you do, fellow kids?
What's up, Carl?
I like this reference. Doing very well, my friend. Lockers have started to flick, or concerns on the kicking and maybe a little inside-outside holding him back. Nah, I think his price allows you to take that punt, Carl. I think he'll be cheap, and I think he's definitely best 22. In a forward line with forward eligibility, it's hard to go past it, I think.
Yeah, if he's cheap enough as well. I mean, if we get Bailey Smith at 300k or a little bit over, and he's going to play best 22 and have a dominant mid role, and that's basically why he left the Bulldogs, as opposed to Bevo's a bit of a Nazi. Sorry, Bevo, if you're watching. But yeah, Bevo's a bit of a dodgy one. I think there's a space for him, so we'll see what happens there.
And the thing is that he'll be very widely selected. And as the Squadfather used to call it last year, he will serve as a blocker. So if he goes really big, you've jumped on that boat as well, and you're also doing really well. If he struggles, well, a lot of people are struggling as well. So you're sort of hedging your bets by going with him as well. She'll be lucky to play 10 games. Yeah, good call. G'day, Freddie. How's it going? Who's played the match sims? Still very early. I don't think there's any. Normally at this point of the season, it's really about fitness, 2K time trials done, and then there'll be another 2K time trial after the Christmas New Year break for most of the teams. Right now, it's all just about conditioning.
It's just posturing. But before January, it's more just about fitness than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. So that you can then get. I think it tends to be around Christmas or just after Christmas break is when they start to really get into full match sims. I'm pretty happy with the Bombers. We've actually started to implement some match game scenarios, even at this stage, which I think means that Brad and the team are pretty content with the fitness levels. And that's why we're seeing, like, Sadad Hole had an incredible run where he ran off half-back, took 5 bounces, and kicked the goal from 45 meters on the run. It was glorious to see. Doing some match sim in the rain. Nate Caddy is bellissimo. So some different teams will have different things, but match sims is still a bit too early, Freddie. Carl, great stuff, fellas. With the clubhouse leaders in the SuperCoach content creator 2K.
There you go.
Harry Sharp areas.
Hey, we're doing well if we're Harry Sharp at the moment. So yeah,
right.
Just basically just chilling until the game opens. You can talk about everything you want, but just nice to have a bit of a chat with all the fans today, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
We haven't seen everyone since about round 5 of the AFLW season, so we kind of stopped, and then that was it.
Oh, yeah, gave up pretty quick. Hion Garcia did well in trials and don't think they could have put him in jumper promos unless he's in the bigger plans. Ooh,
potentially. My only hit with Garcia was I think I noticed him a lot more having him in my SuperCoach team, and I noticed that he didn't get played quite a lot too, even though when he was dominating VFL and when he was, available, basically. They needed someone who could tackle in the midfield. He wasn't getting games, so something's really got to change for him to be even selectable in my team. But I don't think he fits in with the Guns and Rookies mix. really. It's going to be pick your best primos, probably Ashcroft as a mid-pricer, a couple of defenders, a few forwards, but guys like Garcia, sorry, mate, unless you're a keeper, that's about it, really.
Yeah, that's about it, Bill. What player from each line are you guys really looking forward to watching?
If we're talking over the I assume he means over the preseason, right?
Well, you're looking forward to watching. Like, you can't wait to see them play. Look, I guess from the back line, love watching Sheasel in action. I think Sheasel is a great player to watch in full flight. Yep. In the midfield, I'm not going to say Bonds. I'm going to say maybe Elijah Sardis. I'm keen to see how Elijah Sardis breaks into our midfield and takes that next step. He's looking really good in the preseason, but whether that translates to performance, I'm keen to see him take that next step. In the ruck, keen to see a full season of Tom De Koning without support. As a solo ruck, he was really dynamic to watch playing for the Blues. I know he tore us apart when he was up against Goldie, so keen to see De Koning in the ruck. In the forward line, who am I keen to see? Kako, I guess. If he takes the world by storm, I'll go with Kako.
Yeah, there you go. I think Caleb Daniel is definitely one for myself. Bringing him over from the Doggies, kind of one of those guys that last year was a bit downtrodden, but really does, at least in SuperCoach, have the most fundamental role ever. Get the ball, distribute the ball, run, clean kicks. So everything is saying this guy's going to be a forward lock for the whole season. It's really just up to him not to do it for me. If I had to pick someone from an opposition team, I'm not that sure, to be honest. Maybe like a Bailey Smith to see where he is, but I think that's more flavor of the month than anything else. PDK is definitely one that I'm looking at for my team, as Joe said. Shai Bolton, I don't think is Bolton forward eligible, Joe?
Yeah, Shai Bolton is one I'm really keen to watch. Yes,
maybe someone like Bolton if we're going to select him in the forward line. There's a few players like that. It's more just positioning and stuff. Once SuperCoach opens, I'll be able to answer this question a lot better than what I am at the moment, unfortunately.
Correct. If Angus Clark's box up going to be... Oh, for sure. He's got a great 100%. He's wonderful, Angus Clark. And he's better overhead than Redmond. So he can take some intercept marks, whereas Redmond's more burst. So Angus Clark is very good. And yeah, I agree. I definitely think we did very well with the draft. Archday Wicks.
Especially when you had no first round pick.
Correct. Zach Johnson at pick 70, I think, is also is a massive steal.
Yeah, Aaron, you're right.
Yeah, so I'm really happy with our draft. I agree, Hoops. I agree. I can see myself starting 3 premiums / 3 rookies in defense, 5 premiums, 1 rookie forward this year. Yeah. Possibly.
Yeah, I can see myself starting a full back line, a full forward line, and probably 3 or 4 mids. One of them being Ashcroft and then rookies. I do think that the back line, there's not that many rookie options. And then you've got guys like Mills and Gibkiss and a few of these guys that might not be good selections. So if I can get a lot of primos in that back line.
3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 6. I think Xavier Lindsay. Does Xavier Lindsay have DPP?
I won't be picking Gibkiss. I'm over Gibkiss. If he works out, then fantastic. If he scores big in round 0, then maybe I get sucked into it. But I don't think that's going to be a selection for me. I've been burnt through 2 years in a row, so I just don't see myself doing it, to be honest.
Well, Tara, Allen, Alhona.
If I can avoid doing that, I'll be very, very happy. I think there's a lot of good defenders that are going to score 110 plus, and that's going to be equivalent of a lot of very good mids, and they're going to cheaper. So we'll see what happens.
Go back to this. His general plan to swap any Cats, Pie, Sydney, Brisbane rookies to Freo, St Kilda rookies in round 3.
You'd hope to either do that or do Hawthorn and then Essendon and hold them for another week as well. The only problem is you depending on who the player is, right? If the guy comes out in round 0, scores 100, cool. You might just keep them through the bye. But I wouldn't be planning on spending 3. Like, don't put it in your trades to say, by round 3, I'm going to have to trade 3 players. Because you're going to make mistakes and things like that. So, yeah, I wouldn't be... Plan your upgrades. Don't plan to make 50K off a player. Because trades are worth, at least they were worth 120K. So, if you're only making 50K to 80K off a single player, you're losing out. And then come the buy rounds, you're going to be one of those people saying, hey, I've got 4 trades left. What do I do? I can't afford to do this and upgrade my team. Yeah, because you made 50K off upgrading a Geelong rookie. So, yeah, it's probably not the best idea to come into it with this assumption that it's going to happen.
Yeah, I guess this discussion would be more relevant if these teams had genuine
if it was
rookies
Richmond.
to choose from. But
if it was Richmond and you could make cheeky 100K and you know someone's going to do well, okay.
Yeah.
But you're spending a trade. There's no net benefit. You're losing out.
And none of these teams are going to have real, genuine, must-have cash cow rookies. I don't think this year.
Yeah.
Brisbane
barring maybe Ashcroft.
Ashcroft's more of a mid-pricer. I don't want to Levi Ashcroft. Could be really good, but I think he's likely to play more half forward than playing on the ball, I think, this year. So, you can probably get away with not selecting any rookies from these teams, I think, at this stage of the game, or maybe one. So I don't think it's necessarily the biggest issue. You can probably avoid these guys, and I don't think you'll be missing out too much.
Yeah, I think so as well.
What's your bottom this season? Bottom 4. I read this comment. I'm like, what's your bottom? Bottom 4.
Oh, it's fun when that happens. Bottom 4 this. I'm hoping North Melbourne's not there. I think Richmond definitely you can pencil in. It's going to be really tricky. I think this year with clubs like North Melbourne pushing even further up the ladder, I really do think that it's going to be someone that you don't think ending up in the bottom 4. I mean, you've even got teams like Adelaide and Melbourne obviously trying to poke. Let me quickly check. Let me pull up the ladder from last year, and then we can have a quick squiz because, I just don't see it too much. So this is the ladder from last year. Adelaide, I think, will push up. I think Melbourne are hoping they push up. I think Gold Coast think they're pushing up. I think St Kilda and Essendon and Freo and Collingwood, you might have 14 teams this year that are all in contention for the top 8. So if we look at it a different way and say, who's not the bottom 4, who's not in contention for the top 8, it could be Richmond, it could be North, it could be West Coast, and probably someone else who's unlucky. It might not be a bottom 8 type situation anymore. It could just be who's not in contention for the top 8. So, yeah, I don't know who else I'd pick out of that. Who else would I pick?
I reckon Bombers might finish. I think Bombers might finish bottom 4 this year. I think they might finish.
Can see GWS falling to bottom 4, but potentially.
It's not because bottom 4 players. Yeah, but I want to say
have Jake Stringer. So Jake Stringer is going to kick 60. So contract Jake Stringer. We'll see what happens.
No, I just don't think that if you finish bottom 4, it necessarily means you're shit. I think
I think this year's going to be that year.
Yeah, this year you just happen to be. I think I think every team is going to beat up on West Coast and Richmond, and everyone above that, I think, is going to actually have decent seasons apart from those two teams at the bottom. And you just are going to be unlucky if you finish, 16, for example, because it just so happens to be that some teams have played West Coast twice and Richmond twice. So I reckon the bottom four will be Richmond, West Coast. I think Bombers will be there. And I think that Melbourne's not going to be too far off it, I don't think. I wouldn't be surprised if Sydney fall off a cliff, but I don't think they will because new coach energy will bring in.
This is the year for them to do it too, because they've got all these academy kids coming through, so they'll get a top 2 pick and then just offload all their other selections so they can just cash in on the academy kids. Similar like Braden Campbell when they got McDonald during COVID, right?
Yeah, but they got too many still. They've still got the Heaney's and the Papleys, and they've still got some really good players that will prevent them from falling all the way down there to that bottom 4 run. North Melbourne, I think, got a really good chance to get out of the bottom 4, but obviously having added some really mature senior leadership from Caleb Daniel and Parker, maybe less Darling, but definitely the first 2 will definitely provide a lot of leadership and stability to the young group. It's hard to say who's going to be bottom 4. I think the 3 that I'm most confident about are West Coast, Richmond, and the Bombers to be bottom 4.
Right.
And then the 4th one is going to be maybe someone who's super unlucky with injury, perhaps.
Okay, so pull up the 2024 ladder.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's for this year. That's fine. So my question for you is who's going to stay the same? Now, I had St Kilda and Gold Coast kind of being there. Like, not really improving, but maybe not falling down. Who do you have staying the same? Not the top 4, because I think they're still very strong. But who do you have probably staying the same?
No one staying the same. Maybe Melbourne. Okay. But I think maybe Richmond, West Coast, just about. But I think it's very rare. I think there'll definitely be a lot of change to this ladder. I would be very, very, very surprised if next year's ladder ends up being anything similar to this.
Yep, I think so too.
All right. Prob been asked and answered. But do you like Jack McRae in a new environment and the clean run at it, or concerned that he might be past his prime?
I think he's going to see a bit of a lift, but it's more going to be about how the team uses him than anything else. I don't think he's dropped too much. I mean, there was times when I hated myself last year for not owning him. And this was in a dog side that used him in the 4th line. So when he comes around and does quite well, like when he gets around the ball, he does well. So I think there's going to be more of that. It's more just about St Kilda in general as a team. I don't think they got the players they wanted in the trade period. Safe to say. I don't think they got the players they wanted in the draft. I don't think they got the players they wanted in the draft. I don't think they got the players they wanted in the trade period. And I think the teams overall probably stayed the same. So if the young kids can carry them, fantastic. Jack McRae will do well. But yeah, I don't think he's as much of a lock in SuperCoach in our forward lines as some people are saying. But that's just preseason talk, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's still premature. Obviously, the potential is there for him to score better.
2nd of December.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, the potential is there. We know what he has shown, and we know when he's playing in that role what he's capable of. My big concern is if the Saints decide that they're going to continue to play that fast ball movement game that saw them perform really well, and I think they're crazy to go away from what worked for them. And I just think that McRae isn't that player. They've already got Steele in there, who isn't a fast, dynamic player either. So I think if you're going to play two midfielders that are on the older side and aren't dynamic, then I think that just will cause a lot of issues in their fast ball movement. So it's a wait and see. For now, you can pencil him in, but I agree. I don't think he's the biggest lock. All right. Perryman. No, I don't want middle of the run players, Carl. I either want rookies that I know are going to make a lot of money very quickly, or I want premiums. The mid prices that we're selecting could end up being potentially keepers, but I'm looking to really go guns and rookies this year. I don't want mid price madness personally.
And the big thing is as well, if you look at what I was saying before about trading out rookies come round 4, I think similar to the same thing with mid prices, right? If you've got a mid pricer and you think he's only going to end up getting to 400k, heck, even only 450, I think he's not worth it. Not in a year this year where there's so strong rookies around. The rookies are going to score more and make a lot more money for you than a Perryman will, for example. It's kind of why I'm a little bit off Kadeen Coleman as well. I think there's a few more players around that are going to score better for you on field and then make you a lot more money. And you basically, if you've got Perryman in your team, you're saying, I have to waste one trade on getting this guy out of my team. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's the right assumption to come into it during the season in SuperCoach. Be like, cool, I'm never going to keep this player. He's not going to make me enough points on field. Pencil him in for an 80. Cool. There's some value there, but not when you take into account the trade. And then even last year, we saw not the value of trades, but the timing of trades too. Being like, cool, I can't really do much with my team. Like, I offload Perryman at 350k. Oh, I should have just picked a cheaper player to start with. So, yeah, I don't think there's much viability there.
Cherry and TDK, shares and buy. We need that Ruck cover, Luke Jackson cover.
By that time, you can just trade one of them out and trade one of them back in. Like, I don't think you need to worry too much.
No way am I going to have Luke Jackson, Ben. No way. If you're really off with that starting selection, then you can go with Lloyd Meek. Go with Lloyd Meek or the Marshmallow.
Doesn't he share the same buy?
Hawthorne?
I think so.
Hawthorne is round 14.
Okay, cool. So you can go Meek and Cherry.
You can go Meek and Cherry or Meek and yeah.
I really like Lloyd Meek. I think as Hawthorne gets better, and I think Cherry too. Like North Melbourne is a shit team. Last year we were shit, and Cherry was pumping out 110s, 115. Our midfield is getting better. That means more hit-outs to advantage, more scoring chains, more everything. Like Cherry could go to another level again if North Melbourne's midfield gets better.
Yes.
Similar to a Lloyd Meek. If Hawthorne's midfield gets better, boy, oh boy, this kid's kicking a goal a game plus. Like, it's bonkers, man, how strong he is.
Yeah. Bolton has the talent and the Dockers should have more ball share, but he's very selective in his efforts. Baker underrated, but he has always been Mr. Fixer, and if he spends time forward, rough own. Yeah, definitely not going to own Baker, that's for sure.
I think Baker's going to play halfback, to be honest. I think he came to the club, and that's a position that they need. Witherden's no good. I think they really struggle from there. I think it's going to be Baker and Jinby, to be honest, playing halfback for that team. Just good ball users with the distributing. So, yeah. Bolton's okay for me. I don't mind starting him, but Freo have so many good scorers in SuperCoach. I don't know whose points is going to take off. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't add more guys that you want to score hundreds in your team. Something's got to give in that side for it to happen. And does that mean that Sarong now loses ball? Does that mean that Brayshaw now loses ball? Like, I don't know. I don't think Freo have had that many big losses in players for Bolton to he's going to get a lot of ball. He's going to do well, but in SuperCoach scoring wise, it's not like Treacy and a few other. It's not like Luke Jackson's left and now there's 80 points left over in the forward line that you can poach 20 points from. Like, I don't know.
Mate, I might start not stuff the other rucks, bro. Talking about the Dockers, there's one Docker that we haven't spoken about. You guys talking about Luke Jackson? He's a fake primo. Why not talk about Sean Darcy?
He looks ripped. He looks fit, Joe.
Look at this start. He's got Geelong, no ruck. Sydney, no ruck. Eagles, no ruck. English is not a ruck. Like, this could be a great start with a stronger midfield, a stronger Fremantle. Fremantle could be top 4. If Sean Darcy starts, he could be value, man. Sean Darcy could be value. He's got the good buy.
I think he's going to be at a cheaper price as well. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I think he's missed a few games, and let me just quickly check. He might be at a cheaper price. It's interesting, right? Darcy has come into this preseason being like, I'm going to play majority ruck, and I've lost a lot of kgs. Like, you watch him, he looks good. His body looks fit, and he's going to be cheaper than what his finishing price was because he didn't play a full season. So maybe we get him 10% cheaper or something. It could be a sneaky selection for a few people.
I'm picking him.
You've locked him in. I'm on the fence. But we'll see. Someone to watch because he looks good this preseason.
I'm excited. Get around him. For me, Ed Allen, X-Fingers, continues to develop, and Tom Mitchell and DeGoey play more than 6 games, and 2GF, he has really bulked up, maybe play a few games. Ed Allen, yes, definitely watching him. Tom Mitchell and DeGoey maybe, less likely.
He has dropped a lot of weight. DeGoey came into the preseason almost looking sick. I don't know if you can pull up some pictures of him, but I thought he was sick in the offseason. Like, he has dropped probably 8 kilos, Joe. At least from the training photos that I had seen. Maybe he wants to put in a bit more of a run and then keep his power. But yeah, I think with the Pies, especially with Dan Houston coming in, it's kind of cemented a little bit the situation. But they've got a lot of players over 30. And they did not do well in the finals last year. Like, they're like, hey, we need this right now. We just brought in Membry. We just brought in Dan Houston. Like, we need to get going. So I don't see many rookies starting with them at all. Like, maybe they come in halfway through the season. But, yeah, I do not see many rookies being selectable in that Collingwood team.
Yeah. We'll be around for 15 more minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Just giving you a heads up. Freddie, which rookies play early? I'm liking Draper, Levi, and Tauru as early contenders.
I think Foss is definitely a chance. I think Jagger Smith is definitely going to play early. And it's partly why I go back to what I was saying before about maybe we start 3 or 4 primos in the midfield and we say, cool, all these guys, there's 8 gun midfielders. They're all going to play. Langford's going to play. Jagger's going to play. Draper's going to play. That's 3 already. Plus baby Ashcroft. That's 4. Like, they're 200K players. You're not going to put them on the bench. So do you start all those and just say, cool, I'll stack the cash everywhere else and be happy? We might find that this year. Not even including Finn O'Sullivan. Like,
exactly.
I bet you in the preseason we're going to see some like 2 primo midfields. Like, that's going a bit far, but we're going to see them.
That is.
They won't include the Bont.
That is very far beyond the belt.
They won't include the Bont either.
Man, the Cats will never slide. There's only.
Nope, we lost Joe again. We'll see. The Cats will never slide. We'll see. The problem with Geelong, and we've lost Joe again. That's all right. I don't know what button he's pressing. The problem with Geelong is that a lot of football players used to live in Geelong or like Geelong as a place to go and live. So as Rodney will know, maybe he's still on. Let me know, Rodney, in the chat. Geelong will always have their abundance of, Victorian players that want to move home or players that want to go and own a farm. Heck, we had a non-interstate Clayton Oliver almost go to Geelong. So, they'll always be able to get more players in. The old guys will retire. The new players will come in. Patrick Dangerfield will end up being head of recruitment or something, and he'll just keep poaching players until he's 80. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
I feel like I've watched the timeline now all of a sudden, based on the way you just mapped it out perfectly just there.
It's just what happens, Joe.
It's what happens. It always happens. Ben's asking what's a pass mark for your ruse.
7+, but a lot more games that are closer because we could have got 5 or 6 wins this year easy. I say this year, but 2024, if we didn't lose games in the last 10 minutes, if we didn't lose massive leads. Hopefully, guys like Luke Parker and another year of playing into a lot of the players can help stem the tide in those ones. So I'm not sure. I've had a lot of fans laugh at me and say 8 wins, but like, I don't think you can predict. I think that the league's getting closer and closer to everyone just being good, barring 2 players. But barring 2 or 3 bad teams. So yeah, teams are going to steal wins off everybody, man. Like even Brisbane. Brisbane weren't the powerhouse Gabba team anymore. You know, people are going to steal wins off everyone. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Top 4, I predict Brisbane, Geelong, Hawthorn, and Collingwood.
We'll see.
Brisbane, yes. Hawthorn, yes. Collingwood's a maybe. I'd put Carlton ahead of Geelong, and Collingwood's probably fighting it out with Port for that 4th spot.
Yeah, I don't know about Port. I think Port, they picked up a couple of good players in the draft, but they lost quite a lot. And I don't think Rory Atkins and Ed Richards are going to do, not Ed Richards, Joe Richards are going to do enough. So I think Houston's a big loss. Yes, guys like Logan Evans covered, and that's why they were happy to get rid of Houston for a couple of first rounders. But yeah, it's a big watch and see. There was a lot of games during that season where Houston carried. We know this from SuperCoach scoring. So big watch and see. They
nailed the draft. They nailed their draft selections, and they did really well trading in Joe Berry.
Should have let us take Whitlock, scumbags.
They've got Whitlock. They've got a great home ground advantage. It's a fortress over there at the Portress. Never tear us apart. We always. Oh, I think I read this here. Yeah, Luke here. As Lukey says here, Port make top 4 every year, and still no one picks them for top 4 before the start of the season. I'm going to be that guy, and I'm going to say, yeah, I reckon Port finish top 4. I never understand how they get there, but they just do. So I'm penciling them in for top 4 as well. Yeah, the boys. Happy holiday season to you too, Michael. Good to see you, mate. I do not have a notepad version yet of my team. I just have a list of names I'm looking at. Cherry and Gorn.
We've been thinking about this for a while, mate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know. They lost Houston and Port have sacked notice printing in the printer. They have fall out. They could fall out of the 8. I don't think they will.
We'll see.
Rod, g'day, Rod. You boys are def top 3 SuperCoach YouTube content creators for sure.
Thank you very much, Rod. Thanks. Hope we can see you the whole season. It is only start of December, but we'll basically be here for the whole season. And I know Joe's taken some time off through December, so hopefully we can have a few guests along the way as well. So yeah, it should be good once SuperCoach opens.
First AFL SuperCoach I've seen in a while. For me, it's DR, FTTV, and the Centre Bounce boys. Much love to DR and Fantasy TV boys. They are wonderful, and good luck to George and Eno this year without JD part of the helm. Good luck to JD as well in his own personal endeavours. Great friends of the channel. Hawks buys 4 and 15, so Meek could be a very good pick. He could.
He's just a very good player. I was upset when I didn't have him. Getting him in at 300k was very, very lucky for a lot of people. So yeah, one of those times when every single week I was like, hope Lloyd Meek has a shit one. Didn't happen, but I was praying for it.
Exactly. But yeah, so Meek could be very good, but yeah, I'm really thinking about Darcy and Cherry. I think Cherry is probably one of the most safest options, and Darcy, for his price and the known output that we know that he can dish out, plus he's got the really good buyer as well. Darcy Cherry could be a dynamic duo that, of course, I'm going to say no one's talking about. Well, I think this is the first ever SuperCoach live stream talking about the 2025 season. So it would be unfair to say that no one is talking about him because no one's talking SuperCoach in general. But I do think that Sean Darcy is one that I'm seriously going to be considering. And I think at this point, I'm leading him and Cherry. I think that might be my duo next year. Sean Darcy's nickname is FIFO.
There you go. Fly in, fly out, Joe.
Fly in, fly out. We don't want Cherry to get hit out to advantage. We want him to tap at the opposition so he can tackle them.
Just do both. Just like tackle them and then Cherry can race after Liam Ryan like he did during the season.
Exactly.
Maybe that's the good plan. Tap it to the opposition and then that's it.
No, if you tap it to the opposition, you get -1 point. Best to tap it down.
But then you get like 4 for the tackle, so it's +3.
True. The guy went to Dubai for off-season groin treatment. The Magic Dubai. Are we all locking away the bot and throwing away the key? He'll definitely be cheaper this year than last year.
But he's not an auto lock for me. I think it all comes down to price, and there's a few players I kind of have ahead of him. I don't know if I'm picking Bont over Sarong, for example. But preseason can say a lot, so we'll see.
The thing with Bont
is Bont.
Is that his Bont, and you just never know when that game comes in where he scores 180, and you're just like, F my life, why did I not have this guy in my team? And of course, that week, a bunch of people will have VC'd him. You know what I mean? Like, it's Thursday night, Marvel Stadium, or Friday night, Marvel Stadium, and Bont just dishes out a 180, and people have him as VC. And that would be the worst feeling to miss. Are you guys doing stream each Monday during the off season?
We'll see. We'll see. At least once SuperCoach opens, probably once a week until the season. But we'll see. Next couple of weeks. This one was kind of spur of the moment, as a lot of the fans didn't really know about it. But yeah, just kind of having a bit of fun.
Yeah. Big X is odds on to dethrone and chase Max Gorn out.
He should have got all Australian. 100% Cherry should have. Sorry. Cherry should have got all Australian. Max Gorn was, if he wins it again, he'll have to have a very good season, I think.
Rodney says it's the place to be. Plenty of Cotton On ambassadorial positions available.
Maybe whatever, Geelong. Lots of farmland as well up for the taking. Patrick Dangerfield's probably bought another 100,000 acres, so he's looking to offload some to whoever wants to come to Geelong, and It's more up to the team saying no than anything else, really.
Yeah. Way after, I've got family coming over to visit from the States over Christmas and New Year. We'll be taking them around, and we'll be driving off to Adelaide, stopping by various places, the Germantown and the Pink Lakes, Mount Gambier. I've heard Mount Gambier is beautiful to be at. So, yeah, looking forward to some nice little road trips there with the fam. Hopefully, I don't know if Big J will be doing any recording with me gone. Maybe not. I think it's unlikely, personally, between you and me.
No, that's a lie. I'll talk some SuperCoach, be like, this is my team, this is the players I like, blah, blah, blah. We'll see. Got to keep
I like Caribbean. Carl, only 3 certain survivors in a nuclear holocaust: cockroaches, McDonald's French fries, and the cat is in the top 4. I know, right? It's ridiculous. Or top 8. Or top 8 in general. Didn't get his groin treatment in Bali. Shees or Dacos have to be in your starting team, right?
Sheasel is, Dacos is 50-50. That early buy doesn't look great for me. Like you could have a team that has no Dacos and you need someone scoring 100 plus to cover him. That's the only issue that I have with Dacos. There's going to be plenty of teams that don't have him, and I think it's a little bit different than if Dacos had round 7 buy, for example, you're likely to have an upgrade in your team by then to kind of cover Dacos. But we're talking round 3? you need to have a gun rookie on that defense bench, man, because, we'll see. We'll see Dacos. We can be swayed. Round 0 could do magical things. Dacos 150 is cool. He's back, no worries. But, yeah, it could really hurt.
I am going to have Shazel. I'm leaning towards trading in Dacos after his bye.
Yep. Yeah, first upgrade target like it was for a few people.
Exactly. Thoughts on English next season? We have to catch up for a few beverages, my G. Yes, for sure, Globes. Absolutely, we do. My thoughts on English is that he's a shit. And we're not going to pick him because he's a fraud. He's a fake ruck. He's not a ruck. He's pathetic. He ran around like a headless chicken, and he had some ruck time eaten into him by Sam Darcy. English, never again. English is a never again. I am sick of him. Done.
Yeah, I think the only time I would pick him if there wasn't real options, and I think this year there definitely is real options. He had good games, and then he had really shit games. And I think, as Joe says, I think Darcy's going to be more prominent. I think English got shown up a little bit, and he's really got to get his fitness good. There was always a time, every single game, that English took a hit. Oh no, I'm going to need a new ruckman next week. It's a real tough one. Real tough one. So I'd rather pick Cherry and have Darcy or Meek or TDK and not English. Yeah. Probably for comparable price.
Anytime, Bello. That's why we just thought, hey, impromptu. People probably begging for it. We're begging for it. So welcome.
Let us know as well. I don't know. No one's commented on it yet, but the new layout for the stream as well. Just something a bit different than the traditional red, and probably something that we're going to lean towards the rest of the season. So StreamYard's got a few more options. That's what we use. So pretty happy.
English grew up as a midfielder and then grew into a
ruck. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of players who are like that. Like Josh Smiley, he's only 4 centimeters less or something than Tim English. Give him a couple of preseasons, he could be 200 centimeters. Pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah. Gonna check out the book. Yes, for sure. That's on the agenda, legend, for sure. Thanks for the suggestion. We're looking forward to seeing what Mini does for my beloved Eagles. I'm sure he'll do well. He seems to be very well regarded and a lot of positive reviews. I'm pretty sure the Eagles did a thorough process and he came out on top. So trust the process. And I'm sure you guys are historically really good at bouncing back with quick rebuilds anyway. Thanks, Wooden Spoon Data. It was good to see you, mate. We're closing up shop 2 at the moment as well.
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining. Should we consider picking up Rankin if he has a strong preseason? I think he's a forward. He is a forward.
Yeah,
he is.
I think there's definite chance to be able to play him. I assume that Rankin's got an early buy. Joe?
Rankin has an early buy?
I assume so.
Does he?
No. Okay, cool. Well, no, he's not. He's in the yellow. That's fine. Yeah. No, Rankin's a good selection. If it's just about the fitness for me. There was too many people that got burnt last year that had Rankin in their forward lines, and then 2 weeks later, Rankin was no longer in their forward lines. So really depends on what happens with Adelaide, but similar to a few of these other players, we spoke about Saligo in that midfield. I think Rankin is going to be a similar thing as well. He's got to perform for them to get better. So chuck Rankin on there. He's on the list.
He was top of my list, Rankin, top of my list.
I would 100% pick Rankin over a McRae if they're around the same price. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Living English and Ridley. Hey, calm down about Ridley. He's a good boy. And Robert, g'day Robert. Joe, sorry, this been running. I don't even know what that place is, so unlikely to be me. Thank you guys so much for joining us for an impromptu live on a Monday night. A lot more people than I thought we were going to get.
I know, right? It was good.
It was non-stop talking, non-stop questions, and it was a good time. We've missed this.
Yeah, I think pre-season, we've definitely got those people that are hankering for some good SuperCoach content, and that's what we're here to deliver, right? We've had three months-ish off of no football, and there's a lot to talk about. Some stuff heading into round 0, stuff heading into Christmas as well. Play around with your team. The biggest thing with making your team in the preseason is just you might not have the players worked out, but you guys have figured out what your structure is going to be. Unless something drastic happens and half your selections get broken legs and they miss out on the season, something's going to change. So right now, It's just about figuring that out. I think we've got a fair idea of what that is.
Oh, my goodness,
Hello.
Bello, what are you doing?
Thank you very much, Bello.
First coffee
it's been
done
really
for the season.
Guys, tell your friends, like, share, subscribe. It's been bloody amazing. We'll be here the whole season. Hopefully we can smash our video record that we did last year, but we'll see how we go. No pressure. But it's just good content. And as we said in our kind of last stream for the season in 2024, it's just about you guys, right? We wouldn't do this. We wouldn't be on if it wasn't for the interactions with you guys right now.
Yep.
Having the chats, different opinions, different information, and just having fun. Like, we've been streaming for 2 hours. We've got better. We could watch a movie, hang out with our family, do different things for 2 hours. Like, we've got better things to do. But you guys make us hang around, and you guys make it for us. So very, very thankful for that.
Yeah, and we definitely want to give you content that you guys want. So, feel free, please. You are encouraged to make requests. So if certain footage, certain videos, maybe you want us to do a versus series, if you want us to compare two players, for example, or if you want us, whatever the content is, comment it. Let us know either in the streams or in the comment section of any of the videos, and we'll be more than happy to give you guys what it is that you want, because at the end of the day, obviously we have this great interaction here, but if you might want to sit and rewatch, for example, a certain topic that you want us to talk about, for example, more than happy to do that for you. So we're in this together. We're here. It's looking to make this be like a space where it's almost like the hub of SuperCoach information sharing. So you guys you guys tell us your points of views, and you tell us various things that we should look out for, and we of course give you our research and our opinions as well. So it's a give and take here. We're all in this together. We're all friends. And fellow super coaches. So look forward to it.
One of the big points we made last year too was, if Joe and I win number one, fantastic. But if one of you guys like smash it as well, mate, we're all in this together. And Velo, it is what it is. That's what happens.
Don't say it. No.
That's just SuperCoach. All right, guys, have a good one. Hopefully we made you Mondays. Go and have some fun. Bloody heat in Melbourne sucks. Welcome to summer, which is good. Wear your sunscreen. I got burnt the other week, so no good. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.